Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to pick up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Hey.
Hey.
Kitchen talk. Conversations that cook.
ETC.
CTC. It's a little catchy, isn't it?
We got a good conversation to cook up today.
Oh my goodness.
To talk about.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so just before that, I want to make one announcement and then I'm going to introduce our guests. In December, we did a Kwanzaa show and had such a great time. And so, in talking with friends, came up with this great idea about doing a check-in. So we are doing a quarterly check-in. It's called Kwanzaa Beyond the Holiday.
Ooh, nice.
So it is scheduled for this Sunday. It is a Zoom event. So you will actually be able to talk to us and not just put comments in the chat. Well, you can do that as well. However, we'll be screen to screen instead of face to face. We'll be it's a Zoom event. We have 25 spaces. Actually, I think we're at 20. No, we might be at 19 now. So go on Eventbrite, look for Kwanzaa Beyond the Holiday, Kitchen Talk CTC. We look forward to meeting you guys there, having that chat, and it will be facilitated by Dr. Daryl Scriven. So welcome. It is Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook. What's up?
Yes, I cannot wait. This is gonna be a hot one. I'm so excited. Thank you, France and JT, for hanging out with me. All these, we got years on us now, y'all. Oh my goodness. Got years on us. And so we want to welcome Dr. Tiffany Packer to the show. Welcome to the kitchen.
I'm so glad to be here.
Listen, I have been trying to get the Tiffany Packer in the kitchen.
Stop it.
I tried to get her in March, and here we go, almost May. I finally got her in the kitchen.
I'm so glad to be here. One of my most comfortable spaces in the kitchen. Okay, so I am so glad.
Yes. And so, listen, let's just dive right in. So it was guilty.
One more time. Please say it all 3 times.
Guilty.
All of them.
Guilty.
Oh, God.
All 3.
As the young folks say. Period.
I will admit that when I heard the jury had reached a verdict.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I was just about this much nervous.
Listen,
I was like, that is quick.
My heart was all over the place. I think I was in the middle of grading when I heard the word that they had a verdict coming. Forget it. Everything was out the door. I could not concentrate. I could not sit down. I cannot. I was all over the place. Heart just. Oh my God, that's crazy.
I know. I watched because I was at work, so I couldn't get. For some reason, CNN wouldn't come in, so I was watching MSNBC, and I'm watching for the full 2 hours almost that we waiting. We waiting, and I'm like, and they analyzing and they this and they that, and I'm like, y'all, I don't know. It's about to be smoke in the city. I don't know.
Literally, okay. Literally.
That was so quick.
I kind of had a feeling that it was gonna be guilty.
Did you?
You follow the trial. The lawyer did not do a great job. I mean, a lot of the stuff that they brought up was like, really? He died because of the smoke coming out of the car.
I mean,
really?
It was
and all kind of BS they were making up to say that he died from. Like, come on, man, what?
And mind you, you had experts who were saying this is how he died. We didn't even need an expert. Right. We saw it for ourselves.
Somebody even said that they could have had 3 men on his chest and that wouldn't have stopped him from breathing. Come on, man. Who would say something stupid like that?
I mean, people come up with some of the craziest things. I mean, even the drug thing, like, oh, he was on drugs. That's how he died. No, because before you got there, he was on drugs and he was doing just fine.
Fine.
He was talking, walking, doing everything that we do, and without a problem. And then now, because of you, see, people don't understand cause and effect. Or I should say, people try to make cause and effect work for them. Because I am a certain color, I can do whatever I want. That is not how it works.
Right.
And as a society, I mean, everybody was celebrating, and Lisa know how I feel about this. I love it. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna clap, but we can't do it too long, right?
Right.
There's 3 other guys that need to get their due date. There are so many other cases that need to follow this same type of protocol, where the blue wall comes down and they say this is right and this is wrong.
Right.
Where the experts say this is right and this is wrong. Where the Constitution and the lawyers, the judge, people who's supposed to do their jobs right? So I was celebrating, but we got a long way to go.
We have a very
look on Chauvin's face. It was kind of like he was surprised.
Yeah.
He was.
Like, really?
He was.
For us to be in this state in America, right? I mean, all of you kind of said it earlier. You were still like, everybody holding their breath.
Yes.
That's not how it worked. We saw it.
I was still holding my breath after they read the verdict. Like, because I was like, is that real? Did it really happen?
Right.
Like, I literally had to go lay down because I had just been so amped up all day that I could just feel my body like overload,
She felt like she was about to play a football game. that's how I used to feel.
Well, JT, good analogy, because yes, we scored a touchdown for this particular one, but the game ain't over yet.
I'm sorry, brother. That was not a touchdown. That was a first down. That was a completed pass. If we got to talk about baseball, that was a base hit. That wasn't even a home run.
Yeah.
It was not the Super Bowl. It was not the World Series.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go.
You know why I said I'm going to take my comment back. I do think that it was major because so many cases have gone on where this wasn't brought up. We talked about this a couple of kitchen talks ago where you all know it. It happened in California. Man gets beat down.
With Rodney King.
Video. Rodney King happened how many years back now?
30.
Oh, I was in what? Third grade?
30.
30 years.
It's 30
years.
almost to the date. It's 30 almost to the date. Yeah.
So what made that case so huge was that it was videotaped.
That's right.
But what would have made it greater is if policies was put in place because of what happened.
Yeah, back then.
But you didn't put a policy in place because you justified what was done.
And that's
why it now escalated to literally killing people.
Correct.
Instead of killing a black man or a woman, instead of just the beatdown.
Yeah.
So because you said I was fine doing that, then I'm taking that power and I'm escalating that power to now I just shoot you. I ain't gotta beat you. I ain't gotta get close to you. I can just shoot you.
That's right.
And I'm gonna get away with it. And to me, Chauvin's face was kind of like, okay, but it looked to me as if to say, I'm still not gonna go to jail. That's what his
there's an appeal now.
That's what his face looked like to me. It was like, okay, I'm still got my white privilege. I still got my blue privilege. I still, I'm still who I am. And to me, I mean, just completely motionless. Like, okay.
Well, I mean, again, this is huge because he knows he's facing time. How much time? I don't know. This is, again, like I said, this doesn't just affect him. This affects law enforcement, period. And that's what should have happened with Rodney King. That change that we're talking about today should have happened 30 years ago. And as I was saying to JT, I'm hoping that this change, this event, is more of a touchdown where there's a systemic change, not just in one city, but it's I don't even want to just say America, because throughout the world we're seeing some of the same thing. I was just watching something in Africa, same thing. So I'm hoping that the change takes place globally and not just locally, not just in his city, but from New York to LA, we actually make some changes and some things to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm. But it's okay. So I want to say that when it happened almost a year ago, right? Because we've been in this about a year now.
Right.
There was definitely, God bless you, definitely a different feel, right? It feels a little different. And so now with this, it's almost like you don't want to get your hopes up.
You better not. You better not. Why would we get our hopes up? And I think that's one of the reasons why George Floyd is such a victory, if we want to say that, because there are just so many that have fallen. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and just so many.
Correct.
Like, I think, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you want to be happy and you want to be troubled at the same time.
And that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Dr. Packer, that's how I felt. Yeah, we want to celebrate. But at the end of the day, this is just one of many. I mean, just 2 weeks ago in the same city, somebody got shot and killed. I mean,
oh my God.
You can't even make this stuff up.
Yeah, that was
that Philando Castile was in Minneapolis as well.
Another one.
I had forgotten that was Minneapolis. I was like, OMG.
And when he died, I was watching that live.
Yes.
And I thought it was a video of a prior day. And I'm watching this and I'm like,
live. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hold up. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm coaching and like, no. And everything was happening. Yes. Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy.
And the thing is, Philando did everything right.
Everything
right. No, sir. You know what I mean? He even told him, I have a weapon in the car. I have my permit. He was a member of the NRA. He did everything right. So it's kind of like you damned if you do and you damned if you don't. Exactly. So no wonder people run when they see the police, because in their minds, they probably think I'm better off trying to get away, because if I stay, no matter what I do, it's going to have the same result.
And that's the fear we should not live in. And that's the hope that I hope we have, right? That's what we have to lean on, that change will happen, that, I was glad to hear that even the president of the United States had something to say about this,
Yeah.
right? And
He
that
did.
this was wrong.
Yeah.
It
The
was-
vice
yeah,
president had something to say about this. True leadership.
yeah.
This is we did not hear that from 45.
Run.
I cannot imagine what
both-
it would be like right now if 45 was still in office.
So I only recall
cannot
45
believe it.
saying one thing about George Floyd. Do you guys remember he did a press conference and he was like, if George Floyd was here today, he would say the weather is so beautiful. You guys remember that? That's the only time I heard him mention George Floyd. I was like, OMG. People around the world must think we are bad.
So here was one of the questions. Go ahead, JT. I'm sorry.
I wasn't talking about George Floyd. I was talking about Floyd the barber. Floyd barber. It was just it was George and Floyd the barber. I wasn't talking about either one of them. So
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, Kim Black.
I'm hoping that, again, not just leadership from the White House, but all the way down. Governors, senators, people take the lead and say, at this point, this is too much.
Yeah.
But they were saying that some things are changing in different states. Like with the chokehold and the, just different ways of policing, different things that they're outlawing. Ain't nothing I can do with him, Tashima. Not nothing.
Well, you know what, Lisa? In a lot of these states, they were already outlawed. But people still did them anyway. Again.
Which is why I always tell my students, just because things are written does not mean
it's
two different things.
Right. And
what's law and what's reality is two different things.
Right. And then you have these people that really believe that they are above the law. Like Sandra's comment was what we just talked about his face showing how sure he was in his privilege. And that really was it. But here's a question that was asked by one of the political commentators. Had there not been a video, would we have gotten to this point?
Absolutely not.
No.
Not at all.
You knew that. They knew the answer to that question before they asked.
They knew it. Even the press release said something that was like very, very vague. It was something like, oh, there was an altercation. The guy later died. And it was just kind of like matter settled. Had it not been for that attorney general that said, it just would have been another case. Yeah. We were pissed.
I think they were saying the original report or something said he died of natural causes. I'm like, what is natural? About you suffocating a man.
Well, listen, they thought it was natural to do it when they used to tie people up in a noose and call the whole town to watch why they were doing it. So
that's literally what that was.
It's natural. So again, here we are trying to change the psyche. Here we are trying to change the system. Here we are trying to say that, you know what, there's a better way of doing business. Business as usual has to change. Yes. So again, 30 years ago, you had the video. It was clear.
It was clear. Again,
if it was not for the video, we wouldn't even have this conversation right now. No. They would have wiped it under the rug. And again, that's the power that we have currently. So, to all of the organizations, Black Lives Matters, the people who are actually going out, who are fighting back, or at least protecting each other, which is so oxymoronish, right? Mm-hmm. The people we are paying to serve and protect is not protecting.
They're not protecting.
They protecting
each other with our videos. We're protecting each other.
Really? And it was a child, she was 16, 17 years old, that actually videotaped the entire incident
Yes.
Like, I can't even imagine the nightmares she might have.
Yeah.
The trauma that she has, or how could she just steady hold her hand
Yeah.
to really, it was bigger than her.
Yes.
It was.
And
It was.
I applaud her for that courage and that strength. I cannot remember her name right now, but I applaud her for that courage and that strength to watch and video this really public lynching, public killing.
Kim Black said it. They beat Rodney King. Now they killing people. And here it is again. Without that videotape, we would not be having this conversation. Number one, here's what they're doing to eat because of the videotape. They're not even attacking the people who were hurt, families that lost members. They're also now attacking the people who take the videos. With what's my name? Oh man,
Aubrey.
No, I'm thinking of New York with the cigarettes.
Eric Garner.
Oh, Eric Garner.
Eric Garner. The guy who videotaped that, they tried to put him in prison.
They did.
For videotaping. This is the craziness that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying, JT, that this is more than just the first down. This is huge. I'm hoping that we can take this and again take it to the next level. Dr. Packer, you're doing that in your class. We're all doing that. When we talk about this in the classroom and, let our young people know that there's a better way, hopefully the future. Again, using that word, hope.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
That's all you got.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
We really do. I mean, but we are people that we keep, no matter what, we keep going, we keep trying. But my goodness.
This is one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for spaces like FAMU and other HBCUs as well, in particular, because as I tell them, it is Wakanda for real. People can look at us from the outside and say whatever they want, but when you go into, when you enter, okay, it's something else, right? And one of the things that makes it so magical is that it's one of the few places where we can go and have these very candid, uncomfortable conversations without penalty.
Correct.
Because all the time we just have to walk around in society and bottle it up. You know what I'm saying? We got to function in that W.E.B. Du Bois double consciousness where you just got to shake it off in society.
Yeah.
But when we get into our classrooms and our spaces, we can have it. And we're not worried about, the judgment or the backlash. We're not. And so that's why I am just so committed to helping to preserve those spaces. Nobody is going to take that from us.
Yeah.
And again, go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead.
I was going to ask Dr. Packer, just historically, do you, if you look back through the history of the civil rights movement and the different movements, and do you feel optimistic that there's a change? And I'm asking because we felt like the civil rights movement was going to bring about something, and yet we're still talking about and dealing with the things that they dealt with in the civil rights movement.
Yes. Lisa, that is a great question. I do teach my class in an optimistic fashion, but sometimes I do ask the question, are we just spinning our wheels? Are we really going to get somewhere in a society that was honestly never designed to be inclusive? So are we just spinning our wheels? I would like to not think so, though. I think, if anything, what the history tells us and reminds us, though, is that when you're doing this work, you just got to plant the seeds. And you may not see it in your lifetime, but you still know that you got to do your part, because change comes as a result of a push that happens over time. It does not just fall out of the sky, right? And what history also lets us know is that we're not as far removed as we would like to think. Okay, at all. And people are like, oh, you know what I'm saying? We not our ancestors. Oh, you better hope you your ancestors. You can only pray to be your ancestors, okay? Because they was out here doing this thing, perhaps in more ways than what we do now. So let's don't get it twisted now. The history is still relevant, it's still there. And it's just a reminder that we just got to continue to do the work no matter what it looks like. You got to plant your seed so that it can come about, that result of a push over time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like two of your comments. One, it is going to take time. Two, we have pieces of our ancestors in it. It's in our DNA, right? Our ancestors are in our DNA, but we also have an opportunity to take it to another level.
Mm-hmm.
If what did not happen this summer, with these young folks getting out here and demanding change, we would not have this conversation right now.
Listen.
So I definitely recommend that we, don't forget the past, but we also blaze a trail for the future.
That's right.
The next generation is going to have to deal with this too, and I'm hoping that it's not the same type of rhetoric that they're dealing with, that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it gets better, not worse. And that's what it should do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I heard well, y'all know I'm a church girl. So I heard a preacher say one time, how we say 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Right.
But the point is progress was made.
Yeah.
If you took 2 steps, then that's progress, even if you went 1 step back.
Right.
And so I think sometimes we have to look at it in that fashion.
Yeah.
I do believe, and I think we said this one time before on Kitchen Talk as well, I do believe that had it not been for the shutdown of the pandemic and the fact that the whole world got to see this video, that they could not turn their face from it.
Right.
That was definitely a push in the right direction. Just as when with Bloody Sunday, had media not covered that and people were able to see it with their own eyes, not just hear about it, but see how people were being treated, whether they black, white, whatever. And if you have any kind of soul or conscience, you can't turn away and not do nothing. You just can't. And I think that was definitely the push, is that it's not just black people complaining about how we being treated. You got to see it over a fake $20 bill.
$20 bill. But the truth will set you free. Let me just say that. And no matter how they try to spin it, it was the truth. It's the truth. You saw it. And because people saw it, there was no way around it. And they try to spin the truth. They try to do the elastic clause. They even put it in our own system. Are we going to stretch it a little bit so that it works for us? No. This time, the truth is the truth. Right is right. And wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm. And that's
so. Another interesting fact that I heard was there was a little boy that actually called the police during George Floyd's murder.
Mm-hmm.
He called the police on the police.
He called the police on the police.
What were they supposed to do?
That's what I want to know. I understand the baby's point of view. Now, don't get me wrong. You see something is wrong. This is not right.
Right.
And you call the police.
Well, he did the right thing, because there was a case recently where the woman who was a police officer, her partner was doing something wrong. She stopped it and she got in trouble. She got her pension taken away. She lost her job over it. It took her time. It took people to say, no, that's wrong. For her to finally get her pension back, finally get, some recognition back that she did the right thing. And I think that's what police officers need to remember. You're here to do the right thing. You remember that saying, what's that, in the 80s? Do the right thing.
It was a movie.
Do what you are called to do. Do what you are hired to do. The problem is that we're hiring criminals, liars, thieves, and they get the job, and we hope that they're gonna do the right thing. That's not how it works.
And they're not doing the right thing.
Yeah, we hiring those little shrimp though. Those punks. They got punked in school, and now they feel like they got a badge and a gun, and they got some power.
Man,
that's exactly
right there.
We all here saw Police Academy, so we kind of, although it was a comedy,
right.
They were telling the truth. They were telling the truth. There's some guys on there that they didn't have no power, but once they had that gun, they thought that they could do whatever.
Exactly.
I got my cousin is a cop in Atlanta. He told me, you can tell who was who and what was what. And I mean, I'm not gonna say his name or anything because I wouldn't put his job or his career in jeopardy. But you can tell. He said you can tell when you walk into the precinct, when they're in the locker rooms or wherever they are.
Right.
He was like, some of the white cops don't talk to black cops. They keep it that way. They know who is who. They know who was the punks and everything else.
Listen,
they override with their power.
When our police system is very similar to our jail system, we got a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you have a problem just from the foundation of it. So and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Packer, from a historical standpoint, when the whole police system was started to catch runaway slaves.
Yes.
So your whole idea of it was not a protect and serve. It was catch them N-words and put them back in their place. And now it seems to be that same way. Because my understanding of what I've read is, thank you, Davida, we'll put that up. Great. Yeah. So my understanding is they had some history. Chauvin and Floyd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And so was this your way to put that N-word back in place?
Right.
That's exactly what it was. That's what it was. They didn't bring it out in the case in the court that much, but that's what it was. They had a prior connection.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think they were allowed to introduce that. And they weren't allowed to introduce some other very, very similar instances that Chauvin had been in that looked a lot like what he did to George Floyd.
Again, it's called
wasn't it said that if it was brought up, then the judge was gonna make it he was gonna cancel the case or something like that,
out or something. Yeah,
he was gonna throw it out.
That was my other thing. The judge to me was already on the wrong side of justice. Come on, man. I mean, that's why voting is important, right? We talked about this before. These judges that 45 put in place, do you really think?
I'm telling you, that's what Chauvin's face like.
One thing, though, in the judge's defense, one thing. In the end, in the closing arguments, he actually saved the prosecution from a mistrial. He could have let them hang themselves because they almost effed it up. But the judge said, think about it.
Let me say, I agree with you, Dr. Packer, but I got to say this. What you just said earlier, from the beginning of the case, you already had motive. And you telling me I can't use that in the case? They try to stack this case up in his favor in so many ways, but there's a but.
Leg to stand on. He did.
He had
the best he could. That lawyer did the best he could.
He not trying everything. Him saying he can't breathe was a form of resistance. I'm like,
what?
And I'm telling you, I'm having a medical emergency that you causing. But if I'm telling you I can't breathe, that's a form of resistance.
They try to stack it
They'll
in
stretch
so
it
many
now.
ways.
You know, that's just like in the Trayvon Martin case, they tried to say that the concrete that he was using, that Trayvon Martin was using the concrete.
Well, you know what? I was
Right.
saying this a
Like,
couple of weeks
out of
back.
here.
The same lawyer for Trayvon Zimmerman was a part of that team. He was giving them advice. So it's not like these people don't work together. They already know. That's the just blows my mind.
It's true.
So how do you? You know who we need to talk to? We need to get a criminal defense lawyer. How can you as a criminal defense lawyer watch what was done and still try to make a case?
It's about that money. If I'm gonna get paid,
You know
listen.
what? And that's exactly right, France. And one of the reasons why I was so in tune to, like, just so committed to watching this case is because, of course, I'm a historian, and oftentimes historians go into law because our job is to make a case.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even have to believe that case. You just have to try to prove it or make sense of it. And I'm like, you know, that's why it's like a zillion books on Martin Luther King, a zillion books on civil rights, a zillion books on Civil War, because people have these different perspectives and they make these different types of arguments. And as I tell my students, I'm like, everything I say to you guys, I don't believe. You know, first of all, I don't want you to know how I feel. I want you to be critical thinkers on, you know, in your own right? But, you know, it's like, it's really not about, don't write a paper thinking that you're going to satisfy me, because you don't know what's going to satisfy me. You make an argument and back it up with a solid case. And so that's how the defense is doing it. I'm like, there is no way that this defense attorney believes anything that he is saying. And he knows that he's reaching. But this is the thing, Lisa, and I told my husband this. I said, he looked crazy up there trying to defend him. I said, but if he pulled this off, he gonna be the MFing man, okay?
And that's exactly
every rapper and everybody else was gonna try to hire him.
Well, that's what happened with Trayvon Martin's lawyer.
Yeah.
Overnight he becomes this mega star, right?
That's right.
And again,
But the same
that's
too
why-
with the OJ case. If we
same
go back
thing.
to that, yeah.
Same thing. If it don't fit, we don't
quit.
Now, how we still remember that as a history lesson,
That's
right?
right.
How do we still remember that? Again, these things have a way of going into our future. And that's why I said this is bigger than a first down. This is a touchdown. And we need to use this as momentum, as LeBron would say, press the gas right now.
Yes.
This is the time to have those reforms, those changes, sweeping. Not and let me say this too, because we've been talking about this, not just with the police reform, but also our educational system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because like Dr. Packer said, you got a lot of people who still don't see the past as what the past was. They have a warped view of what actually happened. They twist it to make it look like this is exactly what happened when that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Similar to what the prosecutor was trying to do. He was trying to change the viewpoint of what we saw.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Your eyes. Yeah.
Like I said, without the video, you could have twisted that thing in so many ways. And that's why I didn't celebrate as much, because this is one that we did catch on video. How many did we not catch on video? How many did we caught? We caught on video and they still got away.
Still didn't do nothing. They still walked away.
Many?
Yeah.
We watch people get shot in the back.
Or they say that again, JT?
I said we've seen people get shot in the back on video.
Yeah.
And still.
So they may lose their job at one place, but then they go
to
like
another team.
Tamir Rice, the cop that shot Tamir Rice. He now at another. How you shoot a baby talking about he looked like a grown man? Come on.
Correct.
And I heard one of the political analysts or legal analysts was saying how they may have to rethink their defense of what they use is painting a black man as some kind of super natural being or something. Like he just gonna
They
get
tried
up and still try to hurt me. He gonna, raise up from the dead. I don't know if y'all watch Black Lightning, like he's some kind of
Yeah.
like he
Oh,
a
y'all must be
metahuman,
forgot.
you know?
Y'all must be forgot. We catch bullets with our teeth.
Right,
Right, yeah, right.
And again, that's the narrative, right?
right. And that's
But
what
if
she
you're
was saying.
afraid, why you take the job?
Right.
If you're afraid, why you coming into?
But you're not afraid. You just drunk with power, and you just like, boom, I can do what I want to do. I can get away with it.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that really, really trips me out is we always, when we get into these conversations about law enforcement, we always talk about there are good cops out there and da 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 da. And I believe it's decent human beings everywhere in every profession. I do.
Damn.
I do. But I heard Trevor Noah say, if you have 1,300 good cops and 99 bad cops, and the 1,300 won't check the 99, then you got 1,399 of not good cops.
Right.
Because if y'all won't check each other and you continue to let people do what they do, none of y'all are standing up and saying, nope, that's not right, that we not gonna do that. 4 of y'all, 1 of y'all standing looking, and 3 of y'all on this man. Not 1 of y'all would say, man, ease up. Not even the fact that they recording you and they're like, whatever, like you posing, and not 1 of y'all would say, all right, he down, he got handcuffs on, man, ease up.
That's enough.
Here's the thing, though, Lisa. We can't just, and I love that reference, but let's take it to the positive point too. All of the police officers that came up on that stand,
come on,
I gotta give them credit too.
I appreciate it.
Listen, for them to do that in court, even the chief to say no, they didn't just say he was wrong. They said it was murder. Yeah. And to me, that is what needs to happen. So that 4,000, 1,400 start to make change to that 99. See, that's what needs to take place. They needed to see what they saw in court. That blue wall is coming down. Just like your boy said in what's that? He said, tear this wall down. This blue wall is coming down just like it did in Germany. This blue wall is coming down, and I'm happy that it's the police officers that are taking it down brick by brick. It's the good cops, because I know a lot of police officers, a lot of good police officers who, they actually go out and risk their lives to ensure that we live a good life. I give them full credit, right? But that wall got to come down.
Sure. I believe that too. But I guess I'm just having a hard time understanding how you feel like an unarmed man or unarmed woman is going to kill you. Is a threat to your whole life. With the training that you have, with the physical training, I think Cam said it earlier, with the physical training, with all the training that you have, how are you so afraid that an unarmed person, be it black, white, or whatever, but history has showed us that it's really the black, because you're not afraid of the white boy walking in the street with an assault rifle that just shot up some folk. You could de-escalate that.
But
you can't de-escalate an unarmed.
Lisa going in.
Listen, I want to say it was maybe.
Go ahead, JT.
I want to say maybe it was last week. A video was released of these 2 officers beg. This man literally put his hand on his gun in his car. Yeah. Did you see it?
I saw it.
And they literally begging, sir,
Yes.
you have your hand on your gun.
Yes.
They won't pull that gun on this white guy.
Yes, I
But
saw
he's
that.
like, oh, this is my right. This is my right. But
I saw that.
they're sitting here
And he
begging
drove
him.
away.
I'm like,
And
man.
he
But you know
literally
what?
drove away.
JT,
From the
let me
cops.
say this. Let me say this. The police officers who stopped him, they did the right thing. They did what we're talking about all cops need to do, right? They did not, I'm telling you, they did the right thing. Look, here is another guy stopped by.
No, not whether they did. I'm not saying that, friends. I'm not saying that. I'm not here to say right or wrong. I'm just here to say, how are you not afraid of somebody that has a gun, puts their hand on their gun, but you're not afraid
got
to
a
your life?
gun.
Lisa's saying
He is threatening to shoot you.
Listen,
He
again,
is threatening to shoot you.
they
He
did.
literally said, "I will shoot you."
I don't have a gun.
They did the
And I'm
right.
not
But I got a
threatening
sheet.
you.
I'm covered in a sheet right now.
Listen, they did the right thing. That's what should happen, regardless of the person's color, creed, nationality, whatever. That's what should happen.
But
If you're in a situation, remember, the police officers also need to go home to their family and friends.
I
We
get
kind of
that.
sometimes forget that. You know what I mean? So they supposed to have followed, like you said, there's policies, there's procedures, there's training in place. The guys who did that just showed that it's possible.
That
It's
it is possible.
for everybody to go home. They could track that guy down later.
Sure.
They got ways to track.
Sure. Absolutely.
they didn't do that.
Absolutely.
For,
Absolutely. I agree with you, friends. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Absolutely.
But
That is how it's supposed to be.
This is
So
my.
when is it gonna be that way across the board?
That's what I'm saying.
It has to be consistent.
That's what I'm saying. It needs to
Well,
be.
see,
like,
this is my thing. I have two things to say in response.
go ahead.
One is this. I understand that police officers have a very dangerous job and they want to go home to their families.
Right.
With that. And I can see how that can make a person be overly, precautious, even overly anxious. But this is my problem. If you are nervous, you should be consistently nervous across the board. It should not be one demographic that is, making you be over the top. Because
I agree.
if you're really over the top, you're going to be over the top with everybody.
Correct.
But white women ain't out here getting shot. You know what I'm saying? Sure, there are exceptions. There are exceptions. But I'm talking about in terms of, generally speaking.
The mass numbers that we're seeing now.
Yes, are being impacted by this. The other thing that I want to say is that this, though, should not be surprising. Because Lisa brought up the origin of the police and how they started as, slave catchers. But what we also have to understand is that historically, Black men and women have been understood as being, not only subhuman, but at some point, we're ultra human at the same time.
We are not.
I don't.
No.
So it's like this. We Black men, since we're talking about Black men, are understood as these big, black, burly brutes that are half animalistic.
Yeah.
Okay, you're half human, half animal. I was actually collecting some money from, how like on coins, states will have like different like symbols on the back of quarters to signify their state. Well, like back during the slavery period, states had like bills that signified their own state. So I was like collecting how it looked. And so for Mississippi and North Carolina, the slave, like on the back of the money were slaves picking cotton. And the men, Black men, had monkey faces. They were really tall, really big. Their hands were hairy, like they were wolves. They weren't even men anymore. So this is where I'm going with this. That stereotype still continues to stick. So it's like when police see Black men or Black bodies, that is the weapon. You don't have to have a weapon to be understood as a threat. Your person is the threat.
Listen,
And that's what history has taught us about Black bodies.
And I understand what she's saying, because the last time I got shot and the bullets bounced off, it was just I was like, officer, I don't know what else you can do right now.
Right.
Right. You know, it happens. You know,
he had a Luke Cage moment.
Right.
Yeah, man. You know, it happened that day.
Listen, here's the thing. We do have that power. And it's a different type of power. We have that power that you have seen again all last summer. The same power that we're talking about, you've seen it during the civil rights movement. It's that power that they're afraid of. They try to mask it. People try to mask it in terms of animalistic. But there's a superhuman power that if you are, it's again, I said it earlier, it's in our DNA. But until we tap into it, this will consistently happen. We have to,
friends. Yeah, but I agree that we have a resilience. We have a resilience. We have a fortitude. We have. I agree with that. I just don't agree that it's superhuman. It's
now,
just where and the reason I want to try to change that word is because when you say that, it's like you're saying if you cut us, we won't bleed. If you put your knee on my neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, I won't die, or I will die and come back from the dead because I'm superhuman. And that's why I'm saying maybe that is the thing that we need to change. When we talk about how powerful Black women are, we hurt. We have our own things, but everybody always saying how strong we are, how strong we are. Do you know how many Black women have died of stress and heart attacks and whatever because they trying to live up to how strong they say Black women are? And I guess that's why I'm kind of indifferent about you saying we do have a superpower. We are superhuman. We not. We just have learned to or have persevered through so much trauma that it looks like we superhuman, but we are not.
Well, one, I want to say again, I get where you're coming from, but I still disagree. Again, this is going back to slavery again. Let's beat them down. Let's hurt them because we need to see them in pain. This is how we control them. Again, think about it. A culture that came from nothing. You took everything away from them, and they were.
But we didn't come from nothing.
Well,
we still had it in us.
I'm saying starting over again. You took away what we've already had. Yes, you're right. Pharaohs, kings, queens, that was in us. Then you took that away. You took the identity away. You took everything away. Culture, identity, religion. You turned it into.
You tried.
So again, and at this point, now I gotta beat it out of you. And even when I beat it out of you,
it's still there.
Kuta, let's go back. So again,
Kobe boy,
there it is. Again, we cannot forget who we are. Now I agree with you. We still are human. We still have we still bleed too. We're not impervious to bullets, right? We have the ability to listen and connect and understand what's happening. And that's, again, going back to what I stated earlier. If you can't handle the job, don't take the job. I remember this on Carl Winslow told his son, Eddie Winslow, again, Eddie.
All the throwbacks.
Don't take the job, Eddie. You ready to shoot your gun, but you can't even think before you shoot. Don't take the job. A lot of these guys are giving their sons who don't need the job, who not supposed to be on the job. Yeah. No,
I'm going to go ahead and put my son on the force.
We saw this. This is not new information to us.
Yeah.
It comes back down to the same thing. Do your job. Do it right. And I said this before. Until we start saying, hey, This is going to affect your pension. This is going to affect your future.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen enough movies.
Policies. It don't matter, Lisa. Again, we got to see ourselves the way we are, and that's
And
the
I
other
think
thing.
I think we do. I don't think we don't. I think we do.
No, I say that in terms of, again, here is another narrative where let's downplay who they see themselves as. No, that's not the case. Yes, we all have superpowers. Yes, when I'm 69, I'm gonna still look like I'm 22. Yes, I have the ability to think critically, write critically, speak critically. Yes, I can talk with kings and walk with the common man. Yes, I have those. Yes, I can shed my light and shine it bright. That's where I'm at, Lisa. I'm not saying that we can't bleed and we can't hurt, but we can't forget that that's what's in our DNA, right? We can't let them downplay that, so that we downplay who we are, so that they could feel comfortable around us. No, that's not how it works.
Right.
That's not how any of this works. If you can't deal with the heat in the kitchen, especially kitchen talk, you need to leave. You need to leave. I'm not going to downplay who I am, where I came from.
Right.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I mean, I think that's just kind of across the board. You have, I don't even think that is a black or white or Hispanic or Asian kind of thing. That is a human being kind of thing, to have that confidence, to know who you are, to know all of that. Because I mean, we saw it, even with slavery. And Harriet Tubman is my new favorite hero, because she was 5 feet tall. She did all that work. I love it. But you still had some that said, no, I'm not going to go. We all right here. The Lord going to take care of it. And then you had some that was like, all right, I'm up out of here. What we got to do? But I think that, again, it's across the board. I don't think that's a racial or ethnicity or any of that. I think what has been proven is that you have tried to kill us, and we are not going to die. Our race is not going to die out.
Well, we like roaches. We keep coming back.
Really?
There
I could have used another one.
Listen, going back to Kuta, they again are trying to change the way we see ourselves. Right. So I should not have to change me, so that you feel comfortable. That's your favorite poem, Our Greatest Fear.
Yeah.
Our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is that, we're inadequate. No. We got to be on it. We got to be who we were designed to be. Now, if you want to shine, if you got a problem with my light, as one of my I cannot remember her name, but she said, if you are afraid of my light, if you are tired of my light, put on some glasses. Here goes some shades, because I'm going to keep shining. And that's what we need to do, Lisa. If anything, as I stated, reform needs to happen on the policing side, not on the public side, because your job is to protect and serve.
Yeah.
But if we have to protect and serve too, that now you're taking me to Black Panther movement. Don't let me get started.
You see how that went.
You know what?
they changed the laws.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I was teaching at a PWI that I won't name, and I was in class teaching, and there was a white male student in there. Listen, I don't even remember what the lesson was for today, but it must have been something that brought up the Klan. So he said, well, guess what? We're even. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, we had the Klan and you guys had the Black Panther Party. So they're like the same thing. So we're even. Listen, let me tell you why I probably don't remember what I was teaching that day.
Because you went all
Because
the way
it
in.
don't even matter no more because the class became about schooling him, and he was a good student. And I'm just
They
like,
opened up that dictionary on him, didn't they?
if he thinks this, then the
How
rest of
many
them
of them?
probably think this. So
How
they about to
many?
get this work. They about to get this work. And since I know that women are normally not in the history field and Black women are very limited in the history field, I'm like, you'll probably never in your life get to experience a Black woman professor. So I'm about to give it all away.
Let him have it.
You, for real.
I would have been sitting there with my popcorn.
Listen, he had nothing else to say, like nothing. I'm like, don't you ever fix your mouth to ever say that the Black Panther Party is the same as the Klan. How?
Wow.
Can you
Now
believe
that I didn't know.
He said it with no hesitation.
Wow.
And it kind of goes back to what France was saying earlier in the conversation about how people will switch things to fit how they want to understand it. Or
Yeah.
believe it. That doesn't make it true. In fact, it probably ain't.
No. And I think it's important for us to do what we saw in that case. Show the light. Show the truth.
Yeah.
Show the video. Run it back.
Yes.
Let me tell you what the Black Panther movement actually did.
Right.
Was the Klan out here doing free breakfast programs? I missed that.
I missed it.
Were they
Right.
doing health clinics or were they burning crosses and
Right. And lynching.
Were they even educating themselves on the laws?
Right.
Once again, we have an opportunity to educate, enlighten, and put people on the right path. And
Right.
again, there's going to be some that don't. As you just saw that, I love that last statement, right? There's still Republican people who think that what we saw in Charlottesville is very similar to Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
It is not the same thing. And until people understand that and realize that, we are, like I said, JT, we won a battle, but the war still keeps raging. It's raging on. So it's important that we stay on the ball. You know, we give credit where credit is due to all of the people who stayed up late. And I'm not just talking about the lawyers for George. I'm also talking about just the common people who are like, nah, we need to keep our voices heard on air. We need to put it on social media. We need to let the world know, from the average man to the corporations,
right,
who kept pushing this envelope. I'm hoping that they do not stop, because this is just one of many.
Yeah. I think it definitely said something. I think the fact that the police officers came and testified to what is right. And the fact that it came back and it was guilty. I think that is good. I think the other thing that people need to understand is, I think some people feel like if they ease up, then we're gonna take over. And it's not about a takeover. It is about equality. And I think some people feel like we want revenge. We don't want revenge.
We just want to be treated equal.
Well, Lisa, Don't do it. That's fear, because based on the white,
that's their fear.
Naturally, Black people, based on the history, they're thinking Black people are probably out here to try to get some revenge,
and that's what they think. Absolutely,
you know. But actually, we're like, nah. But it's not fair, because they know what has been done.
We want to live peacefully, live with the same advantages and resources and everything else that you have, live with the same privilege that you have. We just want to live.
Walk through my neighborhood without being harassed by white folks.
Individually, I'm just saying as a people, it's not about revenge. It's just about, hey, what was done was done. We want to move forward. Can y'all let us move forward?
Right. You want
No, they're not.
Know what? Fred's about to take me into a whole other kitchen talk. I'm not by no means saying that it need to be swept under the rug, because in my heart of hearts, I believe until there is an atonement for
Yes.
what was done.
Yes.
We're gonna continue to see this. I believe
Now you're
that.
talking about
I
land.
believe that with my whole heart. Until America admits what they did
No.
and what they did was wrong, and there
Right.
is an atonement from the British or whoever came over here on the Santa Maria and all of them. Until
Spain.
they admit
That was
about what they
Spain.
did to the Indian people that were here when they got here on the land that they discovered that people was already on, until they admit that they went over to Africa and stole some people and brought them over here, until there is an atonement for the wrong, we're gonna have some issues.
So let me
We're
say,
gonna have issues because they're not doing that, Lisa.
I
and
know.
Lisa,
Not
that's
at
what
all.
I know.
just about to
I
say
know.
that, not the Packard. Yeah, it actually they have said that. They know they're wrong. They've admitted wrong to Indian people. That's why Indian people have the land that they have. Here's the thing. When you know you're wrong, you got to pay for it in somehow, some way. And that's the
Atonement.
atonement.
Yes.
You got to say, okay, we were wrong. And a lot of people have done that. They say, you know, we were wrong. That was wrong. My ancestors, what they did was wrong. Yeah, we accept that. But you still got to pay.
You
Right?
gotta atone.
And then two, we have to remember it, just like the Jewish community does. My Jewish brothers and sisters, they never let you forget. You never forget what happened to them. Why? You got to pay for it. You cannot forget it. And we have the same, we're not even in the same bracket as what happened to the Jewish community.
Now, when you say pay for it, do you mean reparations? Because the
that's what I'm talking
people,
I'm talking reparations. I'm talking
we don't call a thing, friend.
Yeah, let's call it. I'm gonna call
reparations.
it. I don't have no problems calling it.
Let me get my 40 acres and a mule.
Native populations get theirs. They get their reparations. They don't have to pay a dime for college.
There it is. And to me, we sit at the table to figure out what that is and how that looks like. Can you pay us back for what we have done? I don't think there's a lifetime they could do that, because America was built on black hands, on the black back.
Well, our government has used terms like regret rather than I'm sorry.
Correct.
I apologize. I regret. Those are two different things.
Right.
Well, I think that our government and maybe the larger society thinks that while that's messed up, what happened to black people in terms of slavery is kind of what had to happen in order to put America on the, track that it is, and black people are benefiting from that. So that's you all's reparations. So there should be some sort of
and I've said this on the show before, Doc. I said that that's the evil that still hurts America. They never paid for the Civil War. Never atoned to that. As a matter of fact, some of the same people who was committing the atrocities, they got their land back, they got their positions back, they got actually elevated by the people who won the war, who fought the war, who gave their lives to the war. They said, we've given you nothing. Worse, they gave other nationalities opportunities that we in our own homeland did not have. Where they do that at? So again, until you start saying, here's the payment.
It's biblical.
Here's the payment. Then yeah, I could take the sorry, but that's not enough, right? There needs to be more. There needs to be more. And at this point, watching what
it's not even a sorry, because they don't feel like they did anything wrong.
That's why I said
they're like, okay, now you guys are free to go back to Africa. Just go back. If you're here, then you're benefiting from what slaves did build. So that is your form of reparations. It's how we do make amends by you being
and that's
here.
the problem. That's the problem. Again, this is not black versus white. This is America, right?
Yeah.
The civil rights was won by Americans, black and white.
Right.
The civil rights movement was not won by African Americans alone. It was black and white. Until we realize that it's going to take the collective fight. Look at the George Floyd case was not all black lawyers. They have black and white, Republicans and Democrat working together to say this is wrong and we're gonna make it right. So we just gotta do that on all levels.
Yeah.
Man, you about as positive as Andy Griffith.
He is.
Man,
You know what? He is.
hey man, go to bed.
Right. This is sunshine. Listen, thank y'all so much. We are over our time, which is one of the reasons I also love this platform.
Love it.
We're not restricted by television.
Barney Fife.
But thank you, Dr. Tiffany Packer, for joining us in the kitchen.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You
gotta come back.
You gotta come back for real.
Calm down, I'm ready. Because like you said, we almost opened the door for a whole nother kitchen talk. We got to talk about what our reparations look like.
Part 2.
Talk about the shooting in Ohio. We got to talk. You know, we still got so much.
It's hey, the kitchen. Listen. Shoot me a text and say, "Can I come Thursday?"
Yeah, like to be continued. Right?
It is definitely a to be continued. Davita just put up. There is Evanston, Illinois was the first city to fund reparations.
I heard of them. I heard about that.
Wow.
Okay, I need to do some research.
Vita, email that to me, please.
What
That's
they gave out Dodge Chargers.
I want to say they had like a black woman mayor or something.
Again, that's not enough. You know, just to say
no, it's not enough, but it's a start. I think it's a. You know what? It is 11 minutes after the time we supposed to be gone. I am not fooling up with friends no more tonight. Listen, you have an opportunity to come and chat it up with us this Sunday at 2:00. From 2 to 3. It's a Zoom event. You need to register for a free ticket on Eventbrite. Just look for Kwanzaa Beyond the Holiday. We're going to be chatting with Dr. Daryl Scriven, who is we're doing a check-in, y'all. We're doing a check-in. Kwanzaa Beyond the Holiday. So come look for the event, get your ticket. We'll send you the link once you get your ticket. Tickets are free. We only have about 25 spaces, and I think at least 5 or 6 of them are gone. So go ahead and get your ticket on Eventbrite. Thank you so much, Dr. Tiffany Packer. Tiffany Packer. Tiffany Packer. I finally got her on for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, JT. Thank you, friends. Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
They cook up something. So good night, everyone. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Love you. Bye.